So I'm going to play some videos. First of all, in case you guys didn't see it, this is the one where the comments about the doxing spree of Hasan and everything else, they're all kind of coming out of this clip. So if you didn't see this clip, I'm going to play it for you guys. Again, this is from the Fast Facts, but I'm going to play it one more time. This is the doxing incident. Now, of course, adjacent to this doxing incident is, of course, stuff that can be considered defamatory. So there's other statements that are outside of him showing this that are coupled together, could be considered potentially defamatory, right? But let's just show the thing that really pissed everybody off.
Yeah. Dylan Burns, Hunter Avalon, Hutch, Destiny's Own Personal Chef. Like,
mind you, real quick. See how he says Dylan Burns? He says this like a person that he knows. The funny thing is, and there's a separate video, that he claims later to not even know who this guy is, right? Oh, I didn't even know who Dylan Burns was. Like, and he does a very good job of playing an idiot. Hasan is, I have to give him credit where credit is due. Hasan does a very good job of playing a zero brain cell himbo. He does an excellent job of that. I can't take credit away from that. He does an excellent job of playing stupid. So he does pretend to really not know who these people are, even though, of course, he knows who they are, right? He's not ignorant.
Hunter Avalon, Hutch, Destiny's Own Personal Chef. Like, this is what happened. This is what took place. Okay. And the pack actually did unironically.
And so he's showing their name, city, state, zip code. So he's showing a lot of their information, which you can use to track them down. So their legal names or city, state, zip codes. So people are definitely able to find them off of that. And by the way, this is from an FEC filing. So, this is something that, once again, while it's public, yes, it's technically public. It's something that most people aren't digging into and getting. So while it is information that's out there, most people don't think, oh, someone's going to dig into the FEC filings and they're going to get this information and they're going to throw it out there. Most people don't think that. And most people are like, you probably have your name in some disclosure somewhere at some point. That's a mandatory disclosure. I know this because I did corporate disclosures, and there's a lot of things you need to disclose. Oh, here's the people that gifted us over X amount of money. Your name's out there somewhere publicly, right? And someone just brings this up on a stream of 30,000 people, whatever, that's going to be rewatched by millions, right? That's not what you signed up for when you engage in that behavior, right? And I'm not saying that's necessarily the case here, right? But what I'm saying is there's a lot of lists online of names, and I don't think that, especially under the California criminal statute and the interpretation based on my conversations with California lawyers, I don't think that opens you up to consenting to having your information put out there, particularly as an enemy, particularly to an audience that has some unhinged members, right?
Raise a bunch of money off of like people who thought that they were giving money to a political action committee that was going to go around and do door knocking canvas operations, which they did. Yeah.
So that's the doxing stuff. So obviously they're people that he frames as his opponents, right? They're not people that he is friendly with. They're people that, if you don't like them, which he is telling you, I don't like them, an unhinged person might go and get them, right? Might go and get them. And so we have two things from Hutch. One is from earlier, from a day or so ago. And then another one is today. And Hutch actually really is having some problems with this, and he's considering a defamation lawsuit, which is the new part. But let's play this older video, and then we'll play the new one.
Not only was he doing these baseless accusations, he doxed us. He doxed us. He doxed us. It's like prominently featured on his screen. Like, hello? Hello? Are we like, I don't know what to say, man. I mean, like, I reported the VOD.
As he should, because it is a violation of Twitch's doxing policy, which, by the way, says that even if the information is public, that's not okay. So, in which, by the way, is California law too. California, we're going to look at the laws again. It nowhere says the information has to be private. Even public, quote unquote, public information somewhere on the internet can be used to harass.
The VOD is still up, like you can find the VOD on his channel. I reported the VOD. I sent an email to like Twitch support.
And now he should send a police report to California.
I added them. Like if there's no consequence for this, like I don't know what are there's just no rules. Like I don't understand. It's a blatant violation of Twitch's doxing policy. Like if you go to their policy, this is what it says about doxing.
Which we'll read later, but I've got this pulled up as well. This is correct.
Doxing of any kind is prohibited by Twitch's community guidelines, even if the perpetrators only expose information available via the public record.
So there you go. Even if it's in the public record, which is the defense that everybody's going to bring up, is that it's in the public record. It's in the public record, right? Yeah, that's still against their policy. So obviously, and we already know Dan Clancy is not going to take action on that, right? However, the police department might, right? It's possible. So let's talk about this one. And here's the kind of defamation bit that Hutch brings up.
With you, to be honest with you, man, I have thought about like should I go talk to a defamation lawyer? Like I'm thinking about.
He should talk to one. But the one thing I will tell him is it is expensive. You should talk to one. It's probably you can get a free consultation or a very cheap consultation. He should at least have the conversation. I think that's worth it.
But like to be honest with you, because it's so egregious. But I don't know, man. I just like from everything I've read, like defamation stuff is just really hard to prove, and it's a big old headache. And I just don't know. But like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I have a legitimate grievance here. Like, I'm for sure pissed off about this whole thing, and it is impacting me because his followers.
So pissed off. That's okay. That's good enough. But defamation. Someone in the chat even said his chat said defamation tricky. It's very difficult, right? It's very, very difficult. But if you've got the headshot, then you've got to take.
They're spamming my feed with these defamatory claims. Like I feel like I don't know how to establish reputational harm or any kind of like damages that I've incurred financially because of this, but
that's a problem.
If random people that don't follow me see one of my posts and then they pull up.
Someone pull this up. Ethan's lawyer's an expert, dude. If he hired Ethan's lawyer, that would be hilarious.
One of my posts and they look at the replies and they're seeing a bunch of people accusing me of this thing that might make a lot of people be like, oh, I don't want to do, and I don't like this creator. It'll cost $500,000 plus. It'll have a hard path in California. It'll pry into everything in your personal life.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Correct. This is all true. This is all true. It'll cost hundreds of thousands, maybe not $500,000, but it'll cost hundreds of thousands. It is difficult, and it will pry into your personal life. These are all facts. These are all 100% correct.
But fuck, man, there's like I for sure have a legitimate grievance here. The malicious nature of it is just what really gets to me.
And militia and maliciousness. And let's go over here to the I'll skip the Pac-Man quote because Pac-Man kind of was doing that complaining about the expensiveness of everything in a separate comment about Hasan's doxing spree. So let's just talk about defamation first, right? So obviously Hutch and all the other people are public figures. So you've got to prove actual malice. That's New York Times versus Sullivan, which means that the author, meaning Hasan, knew what he was saying was false and acted with reckless disregard for the truth. To be completely honest, because Hasan is so incredibly skilled at acting dumb, and not everybody in the jury will know Hasan. In fact, many of them will not know Hasan, right? If you're getting a jury that's across ages and demographics, many of them would not listen to Hasan because most people don't listen to Hasan, right? In the world, it is a significant number of people, but it's still in a minority, right? He's not, daily news or something like that that's broadcast everywhere, right? But he's incredibly skilled at playing dumb, so he might be able to convince a jury that that he didn't know, the knowledge part, the intent part. Oh, I didn't know because I'm just dumb. Okay, well, that actually might work to get him off there. And going to a malicious intent. Now, I think it is there. I think there's an argument to be made, but once again, it's not guaranteed. It's expensive, and it opens you up to discovery, right? So you're going to open up all your personal life, everything else to discovery. So why would you go and do that if you have a literal layup? And from my opinion, from a police report standpoint, as long as the police are cooperating, go over to electronic harassment, which is what I was talking about yesterday, right? Every person with the intent to place another in reasonable fear of his safety by means of electronic communication without consent for the purpose of immediately causing that person harassment, right? Harassment. And by sending out personal identifying information. Nothing about public, right? Is guilty of a misdemeanor of up to a year and a fine, right? And harassment means putting a reasonable person in either being seriously alarmed, seriously annoyed, seriously tormented, or seriously terrorized. So let's think about that, right? Electronic harassment is a crime. It doesn't matter if the information is public. It's very likely to incentivize unlawful action. Do you know how unhinged these people are? I mean, guys, it is to the point where people DM me warning me not to cover Hasan. That's pretty unhinged. And I'm just covering it from a legal standpoint. I'm not going into personal stuff. I don't really give a shit about Hasan personally. I don't give a shit about his politics. He can do whatever he wants to do. I'm not against deplatforming him or saying he's right or wrong on whatever political issue of the day he's talking about, or, his, limousine communism or whatever else. That's fine. He can do whatever he wants. It's a free country. He can have crazy beliefs if he wants to. That's America. We allow crazy beliefs on the right and the left and every single thing in between. You want to believe in, the flying spaghetti monster. That's allowed. You can do whatever you want to do. But even talking about the law, people get really unhinged because they don't want to hear this stuff. They don't want to hear the facts. And they don't want to hear anybody coming at it objectively. And it hurts them that there's an objective truth. Right. But this is something that would annoy, torment, or terrorize a reasonable person. A reasonable person doesn't want their information broadcast to millions, even if it happens to be out there somewhere on the internet. Even if it's somewhere on the internet, that doesn't magically give you the permission to show that to everybody and direct your unhinged audience, which has a history of doing crazy stuff. It's not good. There's no legitimate purpose to it. This isn't like, oh, please send a friendly message, here, right? It's fine. And if you believe in that you have every right to do that, every right to have that, even if I disagree or somebody else disagrees, you have every right to your political beliefs, right? However, if you commit a crime or if you commit defamation, I'm going to call that out. And that's what it is. And that's up to 1 year for each person. So he potentially harassed multiple people. Dylan Burns, was it Hunter Avalon, which, by the way, Hunter Avalon is a great example. Hunter Avalon was almost killed. He had a crazy ex that went and shot his girlfriend there in person, almost killed him. So imagine, you got literally a precedent of unhinged people online coming after people. So this is a dangerous situation. It's not there. Destiny's personal chef. So each of those people could bring a claim. Okay. Cyber stalking. This is another one. So we have one. Hold on. Let me just go and make sure you guys understand. This is California Penal Code 653.2. And this is California Penal Code 646.9, cyber stalking. It's actually the stalking statute, but it incorporates cyber stalking. So the stalking statute includes that. But any person who willfully, maliciously, or repeatedly follows or willfully, maliciously harasses, the key word here is harasses, another person and makes a credible threat with the intent to place that person in reasonable fear for their safety or the safety of their immediate family is guilty of the crime of stalking. So harasses is to seriously alarm, annoy, torment, or terrorize a person with no legitimate purpose. Boom. Boom. What is he doing there? And it can be, by the way, like it says here, by electronic communication device, which includes the internet. So is there any legitimate purpose to him doing this? No, it's essentially cyber stalking. And you don't need to improve any intention to harm the person, just to instill fear in them. I think showing an address could be doing that. Once again, let the police investigate it. At the very least, even the police say no, at least it puts some police heat on him. So Hasan knows, if he gets questioned by police, at the very least, that is an inconvenience to that day. He will not be able to stack Labubus. He'll be held up from his Labubu counting, and that will annoy him. And at least it will show a consequence for the action, even if it just annoys him, which I think is merited at this point. I think it's merited. And so let's talk about Twitch, right? Because we want to talk about that. So doxing, according to Twitch's own TOS, once again, these are their TOS. They wrote them. involves bad actors. I would call Hasan a bad actor, attempting to inconvenience, harm, embarrass, or shame by publishing confidential information about a person, which could include real name, contact information, social security number, and home address. And right down here, they put doxing of any kind is prohibited by Twitch's community guidelines, even if the perpetrators only expose information available via the public record. Boom. So even if you want to make an argument that that's public info, it doesn't matter according to their policy. According to their own policy, that is inappropriate doxing. If your PII, personal identifiable information, is released on Twitch without your consent, this was non-consensual, you can file a report and we will investigate and enforce against the doxer if appropriate. You know, that's the part that gets it, right? It's not we will enforce it. It's like, we'll enforce it maybe if it's not Hasan. That's the ending right there, right? Because clearly at this point, Twitch has been informed. Twitch has been alerted. There's been repeated violations. We've talked about this before. He's done it before with different people. And it's allowed them. It's a clear violation of terms of service, which is openly disregarded due to bias. There's no other excuse at this point, right? There's not, oh, well, it's not that bad. No, this is pretty bad. And if it was anybody else, they would be banned. Look, listen, some of you that are VTuber fans out there, VTuber fans, you know what I'm talking about. VTubers do one little small thing wrong in their band. If it's Asmongold or God forbid Baldy, God forbid Baldy, they'd be gone for at least a week, maybe a month, if they did this. Let's see. Open the door for future escalation. And once again, what am I saying about Twitch? Let me be very clear what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it violates their terms of service as they wrote them. If they want to change their terms of service, they can, right? They can. And they want to take a different approach, that's fine. But what we see now is clearly this. There's no other way to put that, right? There's no other way to write that. And what is going to happen is people are going to escalate. All the orbiters and everybody else are going to feel the need to escalate the behavior and become more crazy. Because that's just what they do, right? And there is possible liability when a third party takes action based on Hasan's behavior. So when somebody out there does something to Dylan Burns or Hunter Avalon, God forbid, which I hope never happens, or Destiny's personal chef, if somebody breaks into their house or hurts them or does anything crazy to them that's criminal, the proverbial, right, the metaphorical blood is on their hands because they knew and they chose not to do. And by the way, this can also happen with defamation, right? If they build up to the point at which defamation is becoming commonplace, this can come back on them eventually. Once again, it's going to be a long battle. It's going to be some time, but just give it time. If somebody is not punished for a bad behavior, they have no reason not to do it. In fact, they get more attention when they do it because everybody is covering them and how they shouldn't do it. So because of that, there's no such thing as bad press, right? The bad press to a certain extent helps them, benefits them. So they're going to do it more because they know every time there's a controversy, it gets them more attention. This is why, for example, one-day bans are actually a buff. That's why Amaranth and all the other ones, they get the one-day bans because those are actually a buff. They get to take a day off, which is they're happy to take a day off anyways, right? And when they come back, everyone's tuned in because they want to see if they do it again. So they get a buff.